guys, welcome to Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Recently, I posted something to Twitter, and as a matter of fact, it was regarding, I think, this tweet. And somebody responded, and they said, "The patriarchy always wins." And I said, you know something? That's a great title for a thumbnail. I wish I could give them credit. I lost the thread a little while ago. But whoever said this, good on you, because it's right. And why? Because the more ridiculous you are with your rules and your laws and hurting men and making them suffer, they will find a way to win. Why? Because men don't have a backup system. Men have no help. Men have nothing but to figure out how to survive and thrive on their own. And this is another perfect example of men throwing stupidity right back in people's faces. So this post came out yesterday. It has been viewed 22 million times. And it's got 43,000 comments on it, or likes on it. And this is from a Ren, Rotten Girl, at Rotten Girl. Males took over a woman's tech career conference by registering as non-binary. Now, here's what's brilliant about this. How can you tell they're not? How can you tell? By the way that they dress? Well, no, you can't tell that way, or at least we've been told. By their hairstyle? Nope, can't. At least we've been told you can't do it that way. How else? By the way they act? Nope. How? By asking them? No, can't tell that way. Are you going to knock on a dude's door and come in and see what his nighttime activity's like? Probably don't want to do that to a young man. Both of you might have permanent scarring. Here's the video.
Career conference for females in tech was taken over by male attendees.
They were there just purely for the career fair.
Social media clips filmed at the Grace Hopper, the world's largest gathering of women technologists, show men standing in line to meet with recruiters.
This is a space for women in tech. This is one of those few limited resources that isn't for you, it's for us.
Some of the male attendees reportedly lied about being non-binary just to get in.
How do you know? Now, my post to this, I don't know if I have it here. My response to this was, how dare you? How dare you judge these brave, courageous individuals coming out and expressing their authentic selves, and you're saying that only you can tell what they really are? That sounds awful phobic if you ask me.
Male attendees reportedly lied about being non-binary just to get in.
But it's interesting that the large majority of the people that actually ended up in the event had name tags with he, him.
Oh, yeah, but here's the thing. You can identify however you want. Some days you can, be masculine. Other days feminine. That's what being binary is. You can be either. So perhaps on this day, maybe that's just how they felt. You don't know. You don't know. Stop judging.
And have no searchable history of identifying as non-binary.
Oh, searchable history. Are you going through these people's media posts? Maybe they're in the closet and don't want to let everybody know. Are you trying to out them?
Several tech workers defended the men for trying to capitalize on job opportunities not meant for them, saying that the entire concept was wrong.
Let's be honest, there is no need for a conference just for women, because if it was the opposite, just for men, then it would be sexist. Just because you are a woman doesn't give you the right to talk to a big firm recruiter. Guys work just as hard and they don't get that chance.
And that's true. That's true. We see lots of job postings now that say they're only for certain representative groups, but if you're male and or white, please not apply. So you know what's going to happen? Kids are going to start identifying as Native or Pacific Islander, or they're going to learn some Spanish and soy joker, mi mexicano. I got nothing. I don't know Spanish. You get my point, though. And so now there's going to be zillions of hours, thousands of hours being poured. I gotta watch that word. Pouring into this kind of work to find out if they're being real or not. You can't tell. I told you this was going to happen. Many of you guys agreed with me. As a matter of fact, I said men are going to start taking advantage of this, and now they are. How are you going to tell if somebody, and this is the problem, anybody can identify with however they want, whenever they want, wherever they want, whatever. Now these guys identify as women or non or whatever, binary, whatever. This is what you get. So what was their response? Now, here's what I posted down below this. I said, so you're judging these male-presenting non-binary applicants because they don't seem to be non-binary? I went, wow, phobic much? Now, in this video, he was speaking in a very large auditorium. I tried my best to clean it up because there's a lot of reverb on this. So I ran it through an audio scrubber, and I worked on it for about half an hour. This is the best I could get it. So I'll pause it here and there if it kind of sounds jumbly.
This is supposed to be a joyous event that centers around you. Yesterday, it became clear that there are a far greater number of cisgender men attending than we anticipated.
How do you know? I can't believe they let such a phobe in charge of this conference. It's just, I can't. Where are we today where we let phobes like this run conferences and attack male-presenting non-binary people like this? I mean, this society just...
Simply put, some of you lied about your gender identity when you registered. And as evidenced by the stacks and stacks of resumes you were passing out, you did so because you thought that you could come here and take space to try to get a job.
You're not allowed to be here because you're trying to take a space that's given to other people for jobs, not you. You don't fit the demographics we want. Now, ironically, nobody ever seems to be suing these organizations. I remember in a time when if you were certain, we used to have a law, pretty sure it's still on the books, an amendment to the Constitution that said you can't discriminate based on immutable characteristics. Yet here they are. Sorry, white boys.
We need male allies. We need men who want to celebrate women, who want to work with and for women.
We want, okay, men, you are not allowed here. But what we need you to do is be on board and celebrate and support and work for women, but you're not allowed to. Now, who's with me? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Sorry. And these guys, all they're doing is gaming the system. They're showing exactly why this doesn't work. If I shave my beard, put on some lipstick, throw on a dress, and call myself Nancy, it does not make me a woman. And you can't prove that it, but see, if you have the right ideology, it does. And if you have the wrong ideology, it doesn't. This is why all this stupidity eventually has to fall apart. Otherwise, men will just lie. And then when you call them out for lying, they'll ask you if you're a phobe. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you saying you don't believe me? How is this fair? And then that's the rub, the catch-22. You either A, say, well, I can't prove it, but okay. I can't believe you're... So they come out as the bad guys for going against men taking advantage of the system. This is the stuff that makes this all fall apart. And it keeps going to show you, men time and time and time again are telling women, knock it off. This isn't going to work for you. We will find a way to become successful. And the same women are, shut up, you men. And here they are winning. They're rubbing their own noses in their own hypocrisy. I'm going to finish off this video with another example of a win. This one is from a Reddit post. We've been telling we've been telling women, knock it off. Quit with the getting divorced so easily. Quit with running off to go sleep with a gym guy that finds you hot and thinking you're going to have your best life in your 40s. And then when you decide, well, I'll be married again and I'll find a guy again, it'll be easy for you. We keep telling you it will not work. You keep arguing with us and then you lose again and again and again. She says, I regret not making my marriage work, and now my ex-husband is happily remarried. When I was in my early 30s, I divorced my husband. We've talked about this. The women get the call of the wild. They're still pretty. No wrinkles. Gravity hasn't crushed their dreams and hopes yet. Still got a couple of cracked eggs in the basket. And they get a hair up their backside to go out and go wild because they see all these other 30-somethings having a great time. She says, we didn't have any major issues. Our relationship was just challenged after having kids. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I expected him to do more of the housework and childcare when he worked full-time. His job is bringing home the income. Her job was cleaning and childcare and housework. Again, I have to clean my own house. A lot of you guys do. It's not that hard. You can get a maid. I remember I had a maid for a little while just to try it out because I was working as a network engineer. I was working tons of hours. I could get a maid to come in like once a week. It was like $50 for a light cleaning, which is a quick vacuum, dusting, and then once every other week or once a month, she deep cleaned everything. It cost me like $250 a month, something like that. That is a lot cheaper than a wife. But of course, and it's not that much work, honestly. If you hear noise in the background, construction crews working on the house, so I apologize. I've done my best for filtering it out. He did help me. So he did even help on top of that. So he works a full-time job, did help her. He did help me when I asked, but I started to ask more and more of him, and then I burned out. I used to have him wrapped around my finger, and I used that as an advantage to get what I want. He eventually got tired of it. I started threatening to divorce him, and he said he knew the baby was just stressing us out, and he would like to make it work. I'm still very beautiful for my age, and I lost my mom bod, so I thought I could do better than him, so I left him. I got our house in the divorce, and we share joint custody of our son. You know, a lot of times when I read stuff like this, you have to ask yourself, is this a guy writing this? Like, is this just an angry guy writing this? But when you see little things like, I'm still very beautiful for my age, and I lost my mom bod, so I thought I could do better than him, I don't think that's something a man would throw in there. You know, and she says, I got our house in the divorce and we share joint custody of our son. That sounds like a descriptor. I don't hear anything bitter here. Or she's saying he said something bitter. That's why because I think if a guy was writing this, he'd probably be slipping little things in there. I don't know. That's my opinion on it, at least. You can never know with the internet. She said, fast forward now, I'm 41 and still single, and my ex-husband is 41 and got remarried to a 31-year-old woman who is incredibly beautiful. They had their daughter 3 years ago. He bought a new house. My son loves going to his dad's to spend time with his other family, and I'm not going to lie, it makes me jealous. She has it all. She took my husband. She took my kids. She took my life. That was once all mine, and all I have is the house we created our family in, and now I live in an empty house. Here's the problem. He didn't leave you. He offered to fix it. You left. You took your family home, and you set him drifting to the winds. Only because he was successful. Now, let's reframe this. After I divorced him and I took the house, he went into a spiral of misery. He couldn't pay child support, so he ended up homeless on the street. Is she writing this feeling bad for him? No, she doesn't care. She only cares what happened to her out of all this. And how can you tell? Because she says he took everything, when in actuality, she threw it all away. That's like her taking a brand new plasma TV. Not that they have plasmas anymore. I'm old. That's the last type of TV I had was a plasma, I think. That's like her buying an LED, LCD TV, brand new, takes it out of the box, throws it in a dumpster. Someone comes, is like, oh my God, a beautiful brand new TV, walks off with it, and she's like, hey, they took my TV. That's not how this works. You threw it away. And now she's jealous and angry. And here's the thing. He recovered. Why? Because he's probably young, successful, decent looking. And what's ironic is she left when she was 30. The guy turned around and married a 31-year-old. He didn't even skip a beat. He's right back dating the same age woman that he had a decade before because now she's 41 and the woman's 31. So this guy's probably, what, 45 maybe? He just traded in for a 15-year newer model. Worked out all right for him. She says, I'm 41, I've gained 20 pounds, 40. I've got wrinkles, and I'm alone and miserable. I had a short-term relationship after the divorce, but they never worked out. Why? Because if she's still pretty, but maybe a little bit thick on the thighs, she's a pump and dump. She's just recreational use only, because men don't want to be with 41-year-old moms. She said, men just don't want an old woman like me with a child, and I've noticed that men with kids just have a better time dating with kids than we do, and I hate it. She says, I'm not happy anymore. I wish I could go back when I was younger, and I would have stopped being so childish. Now I have such a miserable life. I work a useless job now, and I have to share custody of my son, where he has to go spend time at my ex-husband's house with his new and improved wife. I feel like a dumpster standing right next to her. My therapist said I should do something that'll make me happy, like a makeover, since I'm reminiscing about how I looked so much and comparing myself to his new, beautiful young wife. So I decided to get a new hairstyle, and that didn't help. No matter what I do, I look like a middle-aged woman. This is probably the most honest I've been in a while. I just feel like crap. I wish I was a better wife over 10 years ago so I wouldn't be in this position. I know a lot of people on Reddit preach being alone and single, but honestly, this is not an ideal life or life I would wish on my worst enemy. And again, I do think this is legit. Just by the way, it's like she mentions the therapist and all that. I don't think a guy would throw that in if he was making up a story about his wife. You see what I'm saying? I've read a lot of these and you kind of get a feeling for it. But here's the comment that got all the awards. I'm not sure how she took it when you willingly gave it away. You thought you could do better and he couldn't, and it didn't work out the way you expected, but the only person to blame is yourself. You can't take back the decisions you made, but you can continue to work on yourself. Don't resent your ex's or his wife for living the life you had and chose to give up. Here's the takeaway from all this. If society here's a great example of it. There are certain words I can't say on YouTube. And instead of the curse words and the words that make the filters pick up, we say stupid things like long-range hole puncher, or a lead squirt gun. You guys know what I mean when I'm saying that. We say self-delete. We say whatever. We can get around the filters because you put in stupid rules and we adapt. You change the names. Like, here's a great example. You can't say the word faggot anymore. I can say it, and I can put that over on Locals. I can put that over on Twitter, but I can't put that on YouTube. I can say retard. I can call you a retarded faggot, but you can't do that on YouTube. So what do we do instead? We just drop the words out and call you an idiot or stupid or a mouth breather or that you have the intelligence of a mashed potato. The idea still gets across. The thought gets across. The words are different. Well, it's not the words that are dangerous to people like this. It's the thoughts. And so men are going to do the same thing when it comes to jobs. If a guy has to be part of the alphabet community to apply for a job, ta-da, he's part of the alphabet community. Because you say, well, having, junk in your trousers doesn't make you a man. You could be a woman. Okay, poof, I'm a woman. Well, you don't mean it. How do you know? Well, because, how do you know that? Well, your social media, I'm in the closet. I don't put that stuff out to everybody. I just put it here because, I'm applying for a job and I do fit this. But you don't. Prove it. And then all of a sudden they're in this weird catch-22. Men are going to win. The patriarchy always wins. You know why? Because men don't have a choice. Men either become homeless, they starve, or they figure out a way to make it in the world that we're trying to get through today. And we're a long ways from hitting bottom, I'm telling you. It's going to get crazier and crazier and crazier and dumber. But men are creative. Men are sly. Men are slick. Men are stoic. Men are problem solvers. They will solve this problem, and then you'll come up with a new way to try to fix it to keep your craziness going, and men will come up with a new way, and a new way, and a new way. That's why eventually we will win. And it's not to say necessarily the patriarchy will win, but it's men will win. Men will survive just fine. If you throw all the craziness at us, we'll be right there. Like we're like a weed in a crack of sidewalk. You can keep tamping us down and cutting us down and spraying us down. Here we are again, and we're going to keep doing that. Now, eventually, men are not going to date anymore. Eventually, men aren't going to marry anymore. Eventually, men aren't going to work for companies that do this anymore. And you know something? You're always going to need people tarring pavement and blacktopping and being plumbers and electricians. And all these people getting these soft, cushy jobs, they're not going to last forever. Those businesses, you watch this next collapse, what happens? We are coming up on a financial collapse. When it happens, I don't know. We are coming up on one. When it happens, just look to see who are the survivors. Who are the ones willing to work the dirty jobs and make sacrifices to bring home the bread, and who isn't? Because I see a whole lot of soft millennials and Gen Zs, especially those, and not you guys out there that listen to this kind of content, but the softies out there that want everything given to them. Whew, government's not going to have any money left. You know, you can want to go commie or socialist or whatever else. When the government's out of money, that's it. It's game over. That's when the revolution happens. People are already running out of money. You don't think men will find out a way? Got bad news for you. We're going to be just fine. I think the soft cheeks over here, they're going to have a hard time with it. They're going to suffer. And once again, we win. Guys, if you like my work, join me on betterbachelor.locals.com. That's where you can hear all the fun words. That's where you can enjoy events and live streams and all the fun stuff we do. It's like $3 and something a month right now. I got a summer sale going. You can support me and join a bunch of like-minded other men for less than half of a cup of some crappy pumpkin spice latte.